My name is Carolyn Harper Knox. My friends and family call me Candy. And my first fair was in 1972. I came with my year-old son, Josh, and we were friends with a lady who made beaded necklaces. And that first year we slept under her counter. The two of us slept under the counter. And being, such a young baby, he had a bandana around his head and he was totally naked and he just walked the paths. He was just free to walk the paths. It's something that really sticks with me, that Josh was able to just be free at the fair. And that's one of the things that I still love about the fair, is that the way children are here. There are lots of adults who are parent-like for them, and there's lots of space for them, especially when the crowds aren't here. When everyone goes home, there's a lot of space for children to be. And in a way, I feel my entire generation, I was born in 1945, I feel that so much of our life has been spent in trying to heal ourselves and our culture. Heal from a sense of danger, violence, abuse of power. I could go into a lot of that, and maybe I won't right now, but the country fair was a very intentional experiment in what other ways we could relate to each other. And honestly, I think what we see around us now is very capitalistic. It's full of money and commerce and marketplace. But that's one way that we could survive in this culture, is to have, because it's a capitalist system, the country fair found a way for capitalism to exist within this community that is very, very different from the typical capitalistic society, community. So that's one of the wonderful things about the fair, I think, that it survived in a hostile environment, essentially. And it's loved. It not only survived, it thrived. It is loved in our community, very much so, I think. Against all odds, actually, I would say. And the first fair I went to, again, it was very quiet, very sparsely populated. And one thing that you have to remember about those first fairs is there were almost no people older than 45, I would say at the most. So it was a very different fair. It was young people with their children, with their food, with their dreams, with their songs, with their music and their stories and their talents, supporting each other, bringing out the best in each other, and celebrating that we're here in the Oregon woods, that we are, we're surviving, we're thriving, we're getting over the Vietnam War, we're able to move on from jail or whatever it was that we left behind. My personal story is that I was in Weatherman. I was in SDS, I was at Kent State. And I came here, I got pregnant, and I came here because I wanted my baby to be born away from all of that. And I think a lot of people would say that. They came here because they wanted a different future for their children, and the country fair is that different future made manifest. It's the future we wanted, we dreamed of. And so it only lasts for 3 days, and it can only happen in the summertime, but it is so precious. It's such a precious experience. Everyone who comes loves the fair. I lived in Five Rivers, Oregon, which is 20 miles east of Yachats in the Siuslaw National Forest. People in Five Rivers had built the Blintz booth and many other booths around here at the fair. And honestly, I felt that I was a person who would do whatever it took to support my community. I would look for the health food stores in whatever town I got to. I would help set up the country fair. I I would be one of the people who taught in preschools. I'm just that kind of person. So the fair was my home. The fair was the place where my people were and where I was supporting that lifestyle that I wanted. And so I came and I came and I came and I came until I was, as a single mom, going back to get a PhD at the U of O. Those were the only years I missed. I sent my kids, but I had to study for a while. I've sold a number of things. Sold stilts. I was one of the first people to sell stilts at the country fair. That was wonderful. The DeFazios, I sold stuff over at the DeFazios booth. Blintzes always. I was always in a Blintz booth. Childcare, neighborhood response team. I'm a FART now. I drive Fair Area Rapid Transit. This is my hat. I'm about to go on my shift. Yeah, I've done whatever it was that I could do, I did. I'm a fair person. What stands out for me are, I wouldn't say stories so much as just little pictures in my mind associated with the fair. Like, there was a guy here who played the bagpipes, and I saw him every fair. And one day I was walking down the path and he was kind of laying under a tree with his bagpipes next to him. And I sat down and we talked a little bit, and the next time, then he asked me if he could come visit me in Five Rivers, and I said yes, and I drew a map how to get there. And sure enough, that guy came playing his bagpipes up Crab Creek where I lived, up this valley that headed west. He played his bagpipes and they echoed all over that valley. And this is a guy I didn't know really at all. I don't know his name, but it was like he was a brother. I just knew he was a brother. He knew I was a sister, and he trusted me to come to that place, and I trusted him to allow him to come to that place. And he spent about a week there, camped up the valley somewhere, and at night when the moon was out, he would play. He would just walk up and down the valley playing the bagpipes. Amazing guy. The kids at the fair, the fire, we used to have fires at the fair. We used to sit around campfires at the fair and seeing people just playing guitars and singing together. And playing guitar badly and singing together anyway, that we didn't have to be superstars. We just sang together. And that felt really good. The fair, let's see, what's another good memory? Oh, I know. There's a thing that I do at the fair, and which is just to listen, to walk around and just listen to every little piece of a sentence or a paragraph that I can hear, just these little amazing things that you hear people saying to each other at the fair. It's just wonderful people talking about their lovers and their children and their diets and their, food. And people around here love food. They love life. And they're very free with the expression of it on that path. It's pretty cool to listen to. Well, we're hitting a point where the fair has to, I believe, grow up to be inclusive and friendly to people of diversity and diverse backgrounds. And I think one way we might do that is to allow people, like just say from some group, say a Native American group, to provide a space for Native Americans rather than to provide a show for white people, to provide a Native American space for other Native Americans and to provide that kind of support that they need to feel comfortable here. Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, gay people, all of those things, we need to start getting more supportive of that. And Oregon is a very white state, and all of this is very natural. I'm not saying that anything is wrong here. It's built up the way it has. But we really are coming to a point where we have to start saying, this is who we are and this is what we want to support. And how are we going to do this? And not as white people, but as invitationally to those groups. Do you want to be a part of this? And do you want to define what that looks like? So that's what I think about the future of the fair. One of the things about the fair that's really interesting is that people like me, my generation, we really can't do this fair anymore. We absolutely depend on young people to be as enchanted with our ideals and see the same kind of need for this sort of experience in their lives so that they will really take it on. And it takes a tremendous effort to make this happen. So one of the things that is in the way of that is, again, my generation being resistant to allow this space to change in the way that it needs to incorporate the new generation. Not just my children, but their children are taking over in this fair. And their music has got to be the fair's music. I mean, we wouldn't have stood for our parents defining what the music was going to be at the country fair. This was our music. And it's the same for them. We can't forever be playing the Beatles, you know. We have to let it go and let it change. And at the same time, the young people also, I mean, and I know they do respect us and respect our vision. So there has to be this give and take. We have to stick around as elders. We have to share what we have to share, but we have to realize that it's the kid. We have to hand it off. It belongs to them now. They have to do what they're going to do with it. It has to be that way.